Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Sage Download. I'm joined here this morning with Raelene Martin, the Head of Sustainability at the ICC. Today, we're here to talk about what the report tells us. So firstly, Raelene, for those who haven't read the report, what's it all about?
Thank you so much, George. It's an absolute pleasure to join you today. First and foremost, we are seeing that sustainability ambition is actually increasing, with 70% of SMEs really expressing that sustainability needs to be at the center of their business operation. And so in addition to that, we're also seeing other areas that are gaining ground. And in particular, we're seeing that sustainability planning is also gaining ground, with at least 36% of SMEs having some kind of infrastructure in place, although we have seen that only 8% have actually invested in formal reporting, which does limit their ability to access green finance. But what I do think is important to point out is that we are seeing some very encouraging signs. There's a lot of appetite for green finance. We're seeing banks gearing up and SMEs that are actually looking into sustainable finance options. So very quickly, I know I don't want to give everything away in the first question, but there are some really interesting recommendations that the report puts forward around simplifying reporting, tailoring finance for SMEs, providing support and incentives. Also, quite importantly, the role of digitalization and AI in accelerating that effort, and how we can also bring in support for multinationals. So looking forward to discussing that more.
Brilliant. I mean, that really resonates with us and our customers and the journey that we're going on. So with that in mind, beyond the statistics you've just given us, which were really holistic, is there anything surprising in the report?
I think for me, one of the points that actually stood out quite strongly is the degree that SMEs are actually embracing sustainability. I find that very encouraging. What we are seeing, though, is that there is an incredibly important role for digital tools and AI, because they are really transforming the space, and they provide the opportunity to solve one of the biggest barriers that SMEs are facing in accessing climate finance, and that's really centered around the data and reporting elements. So for me, I think that was, whilst I think we're all living in a digital age at the moment, that came through quite strongly in terms of some of the important elements that we are seeing around the role of digitalization for SMEs.
You mentioned earlier that actually a lot of the noise within climate, especially at the minute, can sometimes be a bit negative, and really this report puts forward the commercial positive, the impact to both customers, companies and governments all through the transition. Given those international body support, what can we do with that momentum?
Really important question, and I must say, in our view, it's quite powerful and promising to see the support that we're seeing at international level, because it does signal that we're finally starting to get the visibility and recognition of the role of SMEs in the climate transition. And I'd like to mention in particular, we are seeing key figures such as Nigar Abdurai, who is the high-level climate champion, who has been advocating for the role of SMEs in climate discussions. And that sends an important signal, as ICC has quite an important role as the focal point for business and industry in the climate negotiations. We're able to bring in the private sector voice in those discussions, and in particular the voice of SMEs, which is absolutely critical. And on behalf of ICC, we're absolutely committed to continue working with SAGE and all our partners to ensure that the voice of SMEs is amplified, and that we are able to translate to concrete solutions that really deliver the financing, the simplified reporting that's needed to really equip SMEs that are the backbone of the global economy in the transition. I would like to ask a question as to how you see the report resonating with you and what you're hearing, particularly from Sage Earth, in terms of customers on the ground.
Sure. So firstly, for those who don't know, Sage Earth is a platform which helps businesses with the climate transition. It does that by helping them to measure their emissions and then suggest improvements of how they can go on their energy transition, how they can slightly adjust their business models to be fit for the future. So really, as you mentioned, AI and digital tools are absolutely essential in this transition. But what's also really important is that it's matched with policy incentives, with financial instruments, with other aspects which are only really convened at a high level. So we're stepping back. We're very supportive of the work that ICC do in bringing these high-level actors to the table to make sure that the work that we're doing in delivering the technology solutions is supported. Now, in terms of how it supports our customers, as you mentioned, I think it was 19% of businesses have tried to get climate finance or transition finance, and only 1% have accessed it. We want to really change that number and flip it on its head. And there's a sort of something that I heard the other day, which I really like, which is there's a transition from financing green, which is providing finance for green things, to greening finance. We need to make that flip so that actually the entirety of the finance industry can be really supportive of this essential transition.
Could you help us understand a bit more concretely how digital tools and AI can help SMEs improve their reporting?
In terms of how we actually use AI, this is primarily behind the scenes. So the first part is we use our categorization engine uses machine learning and AI algorithms to take financial data out of the ledger and instantly give them a 80% complete climate impact report just by using their financial data. So it's really, really simple. It's one click. From there, there's an extra 20% that the customer or the user needs to go in and add a bit more data about their business, about how it works, the operations, so that we can get a complete footprint. Now, beyond the measurement side of things, we're also using AI in terms of driving action. So once a business has produced their impact report, we can serve them up their top 10 things that they might want to do. And what we're building at the moment is an agentic flow which helps connect them with both finance providers and solution providers directly within the platform.
Fantastic. Sounds quite fascinating and really clear that it's going to be a game changer in terms of how we're able to support SMEs in that sphere. So to close out our discussion today, I'd like to leave with one last question, which is, what is the one thing that you would like SMEs to take away from today's video?
Primarily, sustainability is about growth. It's about being attractive to buyers who want to buy from sustainable companies. It's about reducing risk and making sure that you're fit for the future. And it's about attracting employees. But actually, beyond all of that, I would say the most simple thing is start somewhere, start anywhere. You can use tools like ours. There's lots of good guides. Go to the ICC, go to the SME Climate Hub, get going.
Thank you, George. Those insights were fantastic.
Thanks so much for having me. And for everyone watching, please read the report, which is available on sage.com or the ICC website. Thanks again.